Welcome to the Sagas and Sass 2022 Holiday Special, brought to you by Geek Saga Entertainment. I'm Tara, along with fellow host Jonathan and special guests Becca and Seth, who is our, practically permanent co-host anyway. This year's holiday special is all about Elf. The sort of new but definitely classic now Christmas movie about a human named Buddy who is raised at the North Pole and thinks he's an elf until he is disabused of this notion and goes off in search of his biological father, who happens to be on Santa's naughty list. Dun dun dun.
If you're watching live, join us in the chat, or after the fact, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Sagas and Sass, or email us at sagasandsass@gmail.com to continue the conversation. Additionally, please note that all the views expressed on the show are those of the hosts as individuals and do not necessarily represent the show as a whole.
And in case you haven't checked out our Patreon, it offers tons of ways to support us and receive some great perks in return. You can find it at patreon.com/geeksaga_entertainment. So, obviously, we've all seen Elf, and I'm pretty sure we all love it, or we wouldn't be here to talk about it. Actually, funny enough, Becca and I, now obviously I'd seen this movie quite a few times before this, but back in like 2015, about a year or so after Becca and I became friends, we started a tradition of getting together on December 23rd, aka Christmas Eve or Festivus, to wrap our presents for our family and friends and watch Elf together. Usually also involved, drinking and whatnot. But now we are across the country from each other. So I just had to make sure that Becca, of all people, was part of the Elf webcast. So, real quick, Becca, where can people find you on social media? Obviously, we do other webcasts together, the Bitching Dead with the Geeky Airy, but socials you want to share at all?
Yes, you can find me at Starshine on Fire on Twitter and also Starshine on Fire on Instagram. I don't really use Twitter or Instagram very much. So
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I do have a K-pop Twitter, but for everybody's sake, I'm not going to share that here. I am most active on that. And I actually was in Los Angeles this past week, and was in Las Vegas and in Los Angeles, and there actually was a K-pop boy group that was on the streets of LA doing interviews with random people. And I saw them and met them, and that was pretty fun and pretty cool. And so I posted about that, but y'all don't really care about all that.
Oh my God!
Someone who listens or listens to.
No, they definitely do. Like, I got thousands and thousands and thousands of views.
Cool.
So like 65,000, 69,000 views on this tweet, on these tweets. Yeah. Lots of retweets and stuff. And so that was pretty cool and pretty fun. And they're cute kids. They just debuted. And anyway, yeah, so you can find me don't look for me on the K-pop side of things because I get real weird.
Like all of my friends who are super into K-pop get a little bit weird, so it's okay.
Yeah.
We're all weird about something. Let's be real.
My brain, I just want to offer this, that when Becca said y'all don't really care about K-pop, my brain set that to Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. So that's just, y'all don't really care for K-pop. K-pop, do you? And just, okay, thanks, Brad.
And to date myself, whenever I think of K-pop, I actually think of, I wondered if that how the Japanese viewed the Runaways back in the 70s. The American pop.
USA pop.
Oh, K-pop wasn't created until the 90s, but
no, I know, but the band the Runaways, which was a bunch of teenage girls who were a much bigger hit in Japan than they were here. Though
Oh.
Joan Jett was one of the members of them.
So
Yeah,
were the Beatles like Bebop?
Exactly.
British pop music.
We've gone so off track here. We haven't even started talking about well, real quick, Seth. Even though you're our practically permanent guest host, where can people find you on social media?
Oh gosh. I recently left Twitter for reasons that are probably obvious. And I don't know. You could find the pretty much moribund pages for Flailing Through First, How I Spent My Allowance, and Arrow Chapter and Verse on Facebook if you are really curious about it. Go ahead.
All right. Well, on that note, I wanted to start our elf discussion and also I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm going to try to mute myself when I need to cough. My allergies are through the roof, dude. And no, it is not the C word. Um, the one that starts with C and ends with id, not the other C word. It is allergy sinus issues because also was in Vegas to celebrate my birthday because I have one of those fun December birthdays with Becca and some friends last weekend. And I went from not quite so dry and, like 60s ish California weather to like 40s and way, way, way drier Vegas weather, then came back to like 70 or high 60s, 70s. Today it was like mid 70s. And again, still nowhere near as dry California weather. So my body is like, what the heck are you doing to yourself,
And
Tara? And it's not
also
a good time
they
to get sick either.
they smoke indoors and it's nasty.
Mhm. That is Vegas, though. So on that note, I'm just going to apologize in advance if I don't mute myself in time, if I have to clear my throat or cough or whatever. But so to start off our elf discussion, I wanted to ask you guys what you think makes this a new Christmas classic, which is sort of how it is. I don't know if that was how it was billed when it first came out back in 2002, 2004.
2 or 3, I think.
2003.
2003. Oh my gosh, I was saying
looked it up.
2002, 2004. Well, 2003, right in the middle. Good job, me. So I don't think it was billed as that when it came out, but it certainly has become that, at least among the people I know. And I'm not talking even my friend group and family ranges in age from, very young nieces and nephews to friends who are decades older than me. And everybody I know, I don't think I've ever heard somebody really talk shit about this movie. But the thing that I believe makes it a kind of new Christmas classic is the fact that it pulls elements from older classics like the stop motion animation in the beginning of Elf, and of course like the cameo of the kid from A Christmas Story, who's the adult from A Christmas Story now. And it also keeps that sort of magical feeling from those movies we watched when we were younger, while also having maybe, probably, definitely a better message than some of those older movies that it references. But I wanted to hear what you guys think makes it kind of not a new Christmas classic, whether it be like in general or for you specifically.
I think that the quotability and the memeness of it, I think that that's really what makes it so much, because like Will Ferrell is known for his extremely off-color movies, Talladega Nights, Anchorman, Step Brothers, stuff like that. And but then he's also done some more family-friendly films like Kicking and Screaming.
I love
Elf.
Kicking and Screaming.
It's a very good movie. I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan, I will admit. However, I love him in Elf. And it's just one of those movies that's like I haven't actually watched it yet this season, so I'm gonna have to watch it tomorrow. I know. But I did, to be fair, I did watch those bad movies with you whenever I was there. We watched bad Netflix Christmas movies. But I think definitely the quotability of it, and there is a lot of the star-studded cast. There's Zooey Deschanel before she really became like the manic pixie dream girl. But it's really the quotability of the movie for me. Like, I'm Buddy the Elf. What's your favorite color? And I love smiling. Smiling is my favorite. And it's just like this. Will Ferrell is just he's so stupid. But he plays this, and now he plays this innocent man so well, and it's just like, and you can't really hate the movie. Like, it's dumb, like there's some dumb moments, but it has this magical Christmas innocence to it, and I think that that's really what draws me to it personally. And
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
that it's what draws a lot of other people, the humor of it, and also adults can like it because there's definitely some adult humor in it. But then of course kids can enjoy it too, and I think that that's really what makes it a Christmas classic.
So what about you guys? Either of you have thoughts?
Well, for some people of a older generation, um, anything with Bob Newhart in it is to me a classic because he
Mm.
is one of my three favorite comedians of all time, and I just every time I see anything with Bob Newhart, I laugh hysterically. So um, that's a hit, and also seeing Ed Asner as from Lou Grant and Mary Tyler Moore when I hadn't really thought about it in a long time. That was interesting. But as far as the classics, I sort of think of anything that what becomes a classic when it becomes a classic, it has to have repeatability.
Hmm.
And Elf has now lasted almost 20 years of pretty consistent viewing by a number of people I know, though less by me. And so as far as what makes it modern versus older to me is when I discovered it. Did I discover it in adulthood? It's modern. If I discovered it as a youth, it's classic. That's how I sort of view it. So it's what did you see in your youth? That to me is old classic, and what you've picked up in adulthood is new classic. Now, depending on your age, certain things will be very different for other people. So that's how I view it. The classic, new classic versus old classic.
Yeah, if it came out in 2003, I was either just about to turn 21 or had just turned 21 when I saw it. So I was young, but definitely an adult. So
I was 13, if you guys want to
Oh,
feel really
Oh
old.
God, kill me now. I know I literally just gave away my age.
Becca, why would you do that
And,
to us?
Because I
well,
want you to suffer.
Oh,
and,
okay.
and, and I was
That's the opposite
38,
of
so
elf.
and I was
I'm just
38 when I saw Elf for the first
That's
time.
not very Buddy the Elf of you, Becca.
I could top that because I hadn't seen Elf until last year.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow!
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
it was on a list of movies that Allison couldn't believe I hadn't seen yet.
I mean, I wouldn't have been able to believe it either. Like, because
I
even though it is a Christmas movie and it definitely, like Becca said, has like it's family friendly. I mean, it's hilarious, and I don't, you know.
I don't know. All I know is that when it came out, Christmas movies are generally a hard sell for me. Generally. Although, I mean, obviously, if we're going to talk about classics like, The Grinch, you still okay. All right. Look, yes, I have classic Christmas movies too. So I just missed this one. I don't know, but it's a very funny movie. For those of us of a certain age, it actually had a similar tone, uh, a tone similar to Big.
Yes, very
Yeah,
much so.
yeah. Which if you don't know, that's the one where Tom Hanks is well, a a kid goes and wishes to be big, and then he's played by
Hmm.
Tom Hanks for most of the rest of the movie. Right.
Hmm.
Okay. But it's the same very innocent person in an adult sized body goes to New York City and tries to, I mean, in this case, find his father, but also sort of find himself.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's tremendously entertaining. I will say this is not probably fair because I am saying this through the lens of having watched all or most of New Girl before I saw Elf, I was like, oh, they just Zoe Deschanel, just the manic pixie dream girl roles. She just gets spun off into him, but
Yeah, she
Yeah.
also not the
When
best
was
with blonde
500
hair.
Days of
Someone who
Summer?
probably should never have had blonde hair. Oh, and there goes my dogs. I'm the only one home, so my dogs are driving me crazy, and the cat, even though I told her there was no room at the inn, is sitting right in front of me. So
somehow she found a
Because
way.
500 Days of Summer was made in 2009, and Elf was in 2003. So, and I'm not a huge Zoe Deschanel fan. I find her a little annoying. So this was before she was doing that 500 Days of Summer.
and New Girl, yeah.
Yeah, she just, I don't know. She has that look,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I don't know. But
Particularly when she has the dark hair and the heavy bangs. It's something about
Mm.
that and the really like the pretty blue eyes and the husky voice, I think.
Yeah.
Like, but all right. So moving on from, why we think it's a new Christmas classic. I just want to get a little bit into things that happen throughout the movie. At the end of this, we'll discuss our favorite scenes, our favorite quotes, whatever. But for now, what I really the burning question in my mind, burning question number one: how and why do Santa and the elves? Well, I guess it's specifically the elves just know that Buddy definitely came from the orphanage and isn't possibly somebody's
Santa
child. Because he
Santa
goes he
probably
goes
told
to
them.
all
He
sorts of
probably
houses.
checked his.
No, he goes to all sorts of houses, and then he gets back to the North Pole and sets his bag on the floor, and out crawls Buddy, and the elf is like, "Oh, you must have picked up a stowaway at the orphanage." I mean, that's not the exact line, but they just know that Buddy's from the orphanage, and
They're magic.
I don't think I ever noticed before, but I was like, "Wait a minute, how did they know that?"
he's
They're magic.
he's got
Because
that
he's not the first stowaway from the orphanage.
new
Yeah.
orphan smell on him.
Well, I mean, if you're happy with your parents, you won't try to escape into Santa's bag.
I mean,
But
have
if
you
you're
ever
in an
met a baby,
orphanage, you might.
Jonathan?
What?
Have you ever met a baby, Jonathan? They're very curious creatures. I mean, I know you have. You have a child, but you know what I'm saying.
I've seen them on TV and cartoons, and that would lead me to believe the same thing.
I mean, really, like, I don't think there's no answer to this question other than possibly just the elves are magic. Or the other thing I was wondering is, like, maybe they were just assuming because it's the last place he visited and he probably would have noticed there was a baby, like, banging around in his bag when he was taking presents out for other places. But
A baby banging around in his bag.
listen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
listen.
Well, you need the banging bag for the babies. That's
Yeah.
you need one.
Ooh, okay.
It's gotta be extra padded
Now
for
that
a
I've said
baby
it,
to be rolling around in there without getting hurt, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a mythical bag of holding that he has, so
Mm.
it's so big that it's easy that the baby could have gotten lost in there with all the millions of presents that are in that bag.
I wish actual bags of holding came in that
I think
size.
that's just a burning question that we need to. I wish I could ask Jon Favreau. Okay, so uh, next up, the line, "There's room for everyone on the nice list." Now listen, it's a Christmas movie, and the whole point is that Buddy's dad, his real dad, has been kind of a jerk for a while, and he's on the naughty list, and Buddy wants to get him on the nice list. I listen, I get that this is the movie's plot, right? But I beg to differ with this line because I don't think there's room for everyone on the nice list. I mean, first of
Okay.
all, the what is it? The Central Park Rangers or whatever that come into play way later, like, they're clearly still not on the nice list.
But they could be if they just evolve a bit.
Yeah. I think that's the
If
point.
they
I think the point
find the
is
spirit of Christmas, it's in everybody.
that's how I feel about it.
Interestingly, I just saw another Will Ferrell Christmas movie. This one's probably not going to be a classic. We just watched Spirited. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it had bits that were good, but it's the latest take on Christmas Carol. And I think honestly, what all of them needed was just one of those hauntings. They just needed the three ghosts to show up and show what's what, and that would have put them on the nice list.
Well, Eurovision Song Contest could also be considered a Christmas movie because it has elves.
Does it? I don't think I've seen that movie.
Yes. Yes. Well, if you haven't seen it, I would recommend it.
It's very good.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard. I've seen parts of it, just not. I have never been able to sit down and watch the whole thing. Not that anything against it. It's just like it's on TV or somebody has put it on, and I walk in the room halfway or more through type of situation. But I mean, here's the thing: like there's so many movies that could be argued as being Christmas movies. Harry Potter movies are, I guess, considered Christmas movies because Christmas happens briefly in all of them. Or
Die
almost all of
Hard.
them. Die Hard, absolutely a Christmas movie.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I wouldn't argue that. Yeah. Also,
And how about Hawkeye from the Hawkeye TV
the
series?
show? Yeah, definitely a Christmas show for sure.
I remembered what my standard for is a movie, a classic Christmas movie, and that is how many times did it show up on TBS when I was a child in the 90s? So by that metric, only A Christmas Story and It's a Wonderful Life are classic Christmas movies, just those two.
What, not all the stop motion?
Wasn't Die Hard on TBS like every week?
Oh,
yes.
Die Hard might have been on TBS every week. Yeah, that's true.
Marmalade,
No.
At the end.
I'm just kidding. There was a lot of them. Like I ran into somebody online who had never seen It's a Wonderful Life, and I desiccated into an old vampire corpse and dug my grave. It was great.
Okay.
I've been forced to watch It's a Wonderful Life for many years.
It
makes me sad.
Becca, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with that movie.
All right there, Jimmy Stewart. Calm down.
So one thing I really thought in obviously I rewatched the movie in preparation for this webcast and also because I do it every year around this time, but I did some research into tidbits like trivia about it and stuff. And I think that this is really sweet and important to note. In early drafts of the script, Buddy's decision to seek out his dad was actually more because he was being hassled by the elves for being different. And Favreau pushed the writers to remove this, right? Or writer. I don't know if there was just Barenbaum or if there was more than one person in the writer's room, but Favreau pushed them to take out this whole plot because he wanted the North Pole characters to be nice and warm and kind, even when Buddy was like annoying them. So there's a quote from the DVD commentary where Favreau says that it explains like them being nice to him, even though he's annoying them and causing problems for them. It explains why Buddy is doing all these good things in New York because he grew up in a world where everybody was so sweet, even when he's obviously screwing up everything and doesn't fit in at all. So that's just part of why I really love this movie is that there's elements of like what could have been a bullying storyline, cough cough Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
They made it about, he doesn't fit in because he like literally wasn't born with the inherent skills that elves need to have to do these things, but they're never like mean to him. Even when the two elves have that like side conversation about Buddy, they're like frustrated, but they're not. They are like, how can we, maybe we can make this work this way. They're not talking crap, and that's something I've just really, really always loved about this movie.
I thought they were still. The irony is, I pictured them as still being mean to him. They sent him off to work alone in that room by himself. I mean, I thought that was pretty mean.
I don't think they were trying to be mean. They were trying to put him somewhere where he would still feel useful. Like,
No,
if they wanted to be mean, they would have been like, "Go away, and we don't want you working here at all," right? Like,
well,
they were
I
trying
thought
to.
exiling him to work in a room by himself was pretty mean. That's how I viewed it.
I don't know. I've never. I always just thought they were
They just had
trying
him
to
out of the
find.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, out
So-
of the way, right?
Well, right, but that it's like have you ever worked with somebody who was just like they were a perfectly nice person, but they just didn't get it? And
Yes.
like, but you don't like it's nothing they're doing is like a fireable offense, and they need the job and whatever. So like they're not a bad employee. They're trying really hard. Like, so you find the things that they can do and do your best to not get frustrated as long as they are trying. Like, and that's how I felt.
Absolutely agree, but I don't usually do that by sentencing them to work by themselves in a room by
Well, I don't think
themselves.
that's the problem, though. I think the only job they felt he could do just happened to be that job, right? Like all the other, it's Although funny enough, that's another piece of trivia I learned is that that Will Ferrell, that was actual like method acting. He never knew when the what are those things called? Jack in the
Jack in the
Box.
Box.
Jack in the boxes.
Yeah, he never knew when they were gonna pop, so he was actually like surprised. That was like a actual knee jerk reaction to them. Although the broken one, I'm like, really, with the one that like he turned and turned and turned the handle and nothing happened, and then he started writing it down and it popped up anyway. I'm like, that had to have been planned, but who knows? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. It's something like I just even when people can be really mean in this movie, and I mean, it comes into play later, right? Like his dad is being kind of a jerk, and honestly, the dad's wife, like his buddy's quote unquote stepmom, has every right to be pissed off about this situation, but she is so freaking like open and kind about it, and even eats his maple syrup spaghetti.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Catelyn. I'm sorry.
as
What?
as a stepmom, I can't completely relate to the I will eat this gross thing that my stepchild prepared, but in general, it's at times when people could have been written as being like rude or uh mean or just whatever, like not liking what was happening and taking it out on Buddy. They really don't, which is good because it makes this a happy Christmas movie that could have otherwise been. I do not like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I think that whole movie
We watched
is
it last
trash.
night, and I was
Really?
like, that's where apparently that's where reindeer games came from reindeer games.
I don't know. I like
I
Yukon
love it.
Cornelius.
Oh, Yukon Cornelius is great, but
Yeah.
like you think about like the island of misfit toys, where all the toys that aren't quite right are tossed out, and like how nasty everyone is to Rudolph, including his own father. Like,
Right? His
it
dad
is-
was like, "Let me put some dirt on your nose."
and then at the end, like Santa's only like, "Oh, cool, you're awesome. Let's go. Let's be buds. Like you can work for me now." It's like it's totally like, "Oh, now you're useful to me, so I'm going to be nice to you and pay attention." I really don't care for it.
His dad does seem like he might send Rudolph to a camp for shiny-nosed reindeer.
Wayward Rudolph.
Yeah, exactly.
Wayward
Rudolph. Yeah. You know what? It just occurred to me while we were talking about this, and I'm going to go into left field. I'm going to make it short. That there's a parallel to be drawn between Buddy and Carrot Ironfounder's son from the Discworld books. Has anybody else read those?
Terry Pratchett, I have not. It's on my list of things I'm supposed to read and has been for 25 years.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, since none of you have read them, I'm just going to leave that alone.
I hear they're wonderful.
Yeah, they are amazing. It's just that Carrot is a human who is raised by dwarves.
Word.
So just as another, like, this is like a complete side note, but from now on, when I can't be bothered by people, I'm just gonna say, "Not now, Arctic Puffin." I never realized, like, I never really like wrapped my mind around that line because it like happened so fast and Buddy's upset about other things. But when I was watching it the other day, I was like, "Oh my god, that's funny," because he's just like the puppet. I don't remember what the puppet is trying to say or tell him, and he's just like, "Not now, Arctic Puffin." So if anybody listens to this or watches it later or is watching it now, or the three of you that are on here, if I start saying that at Ice and Fire Con next year or elsewhere in my life, you know where it came from.
I imagine you're going to say a lot of that at Ice and Fire Con.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I can't ever I can't ever say that at Ice and Fire Con. At least not to most people. But
I'm
here's the
probably
question,
receiving
though.
the brunt of the not now Arctic puffin.
Yeah. Here's another question, though. Why are the puffin I don't know if it's a mini walrus or a baby. I'm not sure what's going on with the size stuff here, but why are the puffin, the walrus, and the little bear, little polar bear, afraid of the narwhal when it pops up out of the ocean? Because like they like freak out and run away. This isn't just surprise. Like no, I'm surprised that it popped out of the water. They're like, oh my god, no! And they run away. Narwhals eat like fish and shrimp. That's it.
But
it doesn't matter. It has a giant horn on its head.
They're the unicorns of the sea, Becca.
Yeah,
You're a unicorn
we all remember that children's classic, The Last Narwhal. Anyway, they are poking holes in the stuff that all three of those species walk on.
Mm-hmm.
That could be, like I thought this was solid ice. Narwhal hole. I don't know.
There's somebody walking around with a giant sword swinging it. Wouldn't you be a little uncomfortable if they came towards you, swimming towards you very fast?
I don't. It just pops out of the water, and by the way, that's Jon Favreau's voice. It says, "Bye, buddy. It's good luck in New York City," or whatever he says. Like,
good luck finding your dad.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, yeah. I don't know. I was just like, why are they so afraid? Why are they running away? Like, narwhals they're not mean. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're mean. I actually don't know, but they definitely don't eat bears, walrus, and puffins.
Like I said, there's a giant sword on its head.
Maybe there's a story. There's a backstory. Somebody write that fanfic about why they're afraid of the narwhal.
Oh, it could be a
narwhal killed my family.
That's actually a question. Is there elf fanfic?
Oh, probably.
Do I ever want to read?
I'm looking it up right now.
No, oh God, Becca, there are things man was not meant to know.
Well, there are things that Becca wants to know.
Oh boy.
And the answer is
Cthulhu. Do you want Cthulhu?
Now I want to know the answer. Is there elf fanfic?
Well, while we're waiting for Becca to look it up, am I the only one? I cannot be the only one in the room here who literally can't watch Buddy eat the gum off of the subway railing. Right?
Oh, I love it. It's so funny. It's gross.
I know it's fake. I know it's fake, right? I know that Will Ferrell wasn't actually eating other people's gum off of a real in life subway railing. But
are you sure? You said he was a method actor earlier. So
no, I said that about the Jack in the Boxes.
Yeah,
now he did eat other things later in the movie, but I can't imagine that anyone, except for maybe like Jared Leto, because he's a trash human being, would actually. I found it. Oh my God, there is elf fanfic.
Do you want me to tell you what the name of it is?
Yes.
Is there just one?
No, there. I mean,
there is many elf fanfic.
There's got to be an entire subreddit, right?
No, there are several. There are several, yes, but this is the one. The first one I found is rated E for explicit.
Oh God.
It's called Betty the Elf is a cock slut.
I'm sorry. What is it called?
Buddy the Elf is a cock slut.
I feel like we should have warned at the top of this that this is not a family-friendly
episode.
I'm going to send it in the chat so you guys can read it if you want to.
No, I think I can see the way this is going. Somebody's going to make a pun about stockings. And then about stocking stuffers. And then it's...
Why? Zayn Malik is in it, and Harry Potter is also tagged.
Harry Potter's in everything.
It's a crossover.
It's a crossover.
There are 17 works in Buddy Hobbs.
Oh Lord. All right. Well,
most of them are rated G, except for Buddy the Elf is a cucks.
Oh my God. Well, if there's one about the narwhal,
I'll
that's the one I
find it
really
and send
want.
it to you.
Another burning question is, where the heck did Buddy get the money to buy the lingerie for his dad?
See, this is the question I asked you because I was
Yes.
like, where did it come from? I want to know. And who was it that said that he was working in the department store? Was it Dean?
Yeah,
Anyway,
but that happens after. This is like Buddy is still in his Buddy elf costume. It's like he's just gotten to New York, has just met his dad, has not like unless his dad handed him money off screen somewhere, or or because that's the thing. There's no like currency in the North Pole, like actual.
Wait, come on. Santa gave him some walking around cash, right?
yeah, definitely. He's got to have some kind of money.
I'm sure. Look, he's a saint. He's got to get a cut from the Catholic Church.
Because he also goes to
That's how it works, right?
he also goes to get, remember, he goes to get the world's best cup of coffee, and he just like, and he drinks the coffee, but he doesn't have any money, so he surely would have had to have paid for it, so he has to have some kind of money. Or are we just expecting that he creates money with his magic Buddy the Elf?
I honestly don't know. I don't know. It's one of those questions that we'll probably never. I don't know. Maybe there is an answer out there, but in brief Google searches, I could not find it.
A deleted scene, perhaps,
Yeah.
where Buddy the Elf gets money from Santa.
Oh,
I
like
think
the,
I
oh my
figured out
gosh.
where the fanfic
Oh my
came
gosh,
from.
like the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special when Drax and oh my gosh,
Mantis.
Mantis, yeah, Drax and Mantis are on Hollywood Boulevard, and people are asking to take pictures with them and giving and tipping them in cash. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe Buddy was walking around New York City, and people were like, "Oh, look at this guy in this awesome elf costume." That's the story I'm going with.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that story.
Yeah, they just cut that scene. They cut that scene from from the end result. So also, if you haven't seen the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, super cute. Definitely a must watch.
Is Chris Pratt in it?
He is
very briefly,
but not a whole lot.
It's almost entirely about Mantis and Drax, honestly.
Okay, I don't know anything about. I've only seen first one.
Yeah, there actually is probably there's some things you'd miss out on if you haven't seen the second Guardians of the Galaxy, but it is really cute and it's only like 45 minutes long. So here's another thing that bugged me. That again, and this is like I've watched this so many times, but when I watch it, I'm normally just watching it for funsies or have it on in the background around the holidays. But Buddy can't keep up with building Etch-a-Sketches at the beginning, but he can make dozens of snowballs in seconds.
I was more
so he has the dexterity and the quickness, right?
I was more impressed that he could throw all those snowballs so quickly, actually, than make them.
That too. He's like a cannon.
I actually thought he made them through magic. That he had some sort of magical. He had because of his growing up as an elf. He learned some spells, and one of them is to make snowballs. That's how I just thought of it in my mind.
Yeah. You used to be able to just play an elf and get spells. Anyway, that's
exactly that's exactly true.
Yes. But I don't know. I mean, like making a snowball is a lot easier than trying to put together an Etch-a-Sketch, right?
Yes,
probably.
Oh, for sure. But even those, like they were short, they pour the sand in. They got a little funnel. They pour the sand in. It's like snaps together, or whatever. It's not super hard to build. Yes, making snowballs is easier, but it's more about like how quickly he makes the snowballs and also how quickly he throws them, for that matter. Like he has the dexterity, he has the speed for these things. I agree that wouldn't entirely transfer to making Etch-a-Sketches, but I would like to know, like he should have been able to make more than he had for the Etch-a-Sketches. I mean, if he's that fast with snowballs, like he wouldn't be elf fast, but he would have been faster than he was, I think.
I mean,
listen, I'm not trying to pick this movie apart. I still love everything about it. I just am I'm really just trying to I want amusing answers as to why these things are possible.
Well, Tara, with God, all things are possible.
Should that be with
So
Santa
jot
all
that
things
down.
are possible?
Put that on a bumper sticker. That'll anyway.
Yeah, that'll sell.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, are we going by like Roger Rabbit rules? Only when it's funnier?
Yeah, I guess maybe that could work. I mean, it's a silly, family-friendly Christmas movie. I am not expecting serious answers for this, but I do like I mean, hey, like Buddy was taking pictures with people in his elf costume and getting tips. That's how he bought the lingerie. There we go, right? Like I want to know why the snowball making has like almost zero translation into making etch a sketches. No funny answers.
My
My brain is fuzzy, honestly, from sinus stuff.
Buddy's fingers work better when they're frozen.
Oh,
No, that
God.
doesn't. Okay.
I mean,
there's things there's things there.
Well,
That
like the thing is
do you
that,
want
like
to go read the fanfic?
the thing is that like Etch a Sketch. I'm not exactly sure how he's putting the Etch a Sketches together. I don't remember, but really, Snowballs is just scoop, 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 scoop.
He's just very fast at it. Whatever, good for him. He gets the award for best snowball fight companion, I suppose. It lets him bond with his little brother. It's a super cute scene. His little brother's being bullied, and he helps his little brother by, aiding him in a snowball fight.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I kind of mentioned a couple of these things obviously already, but there's a bunch of cameos in this movie. Peter Billingsley, who is Ralphie from A Christmas Story, is one of the elves. Also, I don't like A Christmas Story at all. I've watched it once and I despised it so much I have refused to ever watch it again.
Wow. I've never seen it all the way through.
I have seen it too many times.
I honestly, at this point, can't even remember why I didn't like it because it's been so long. I just remember being like, ugh, I don't want this at all. Get this out of my life. Like, I finished watching it and I was like, I never again. What about you, Jonathan? Do you like A Christmas Story?
I'm trying to remember if I've ever seen it. Can you remind me who is the
You'll shoot your eye out.
He wants a what is it, like a Red Ryder BB gun for
Red Ryder BB gun.
Christmas?
Yeah.
I don't ever think I've ever seen it.
Kolchak the Night Stalker plays his dad.
Is it him or
Oh.
another?
Then I should know it, but I don't. That was Darren McGavin, right?
Yeah.
Is it him or another? Is it Ralphie or another kid who licks the pole and his tongue gets
kid.
frozen to it?
Another
Okay.
kid.
And then there's the leg lamp. That's a big thing.
Yeah. And then
Very
he says the
prestigious
F
award.
word, and he says, "Where did you learn that?" And he says his friend, and his mom goes, "What?" And he gets the Ovaltine thing, and he has the Little Orphan Annie Ovaltine thing, and then the secret decoder ring is buy more Ovaltine, and he goes, "Son of a bitch."
But he's like the guy, Peter Billingsley. He's cute as the elf in this movie. I guess him and Jon Favreau are like friends. There's other things that he's done with Favreau, so that's fun. It's interesting. Like, how did they become friends? Because I don't think that actor from A Christmas Story has been in a ton of stuff, but
just A Christmas Story and A Christmas Story, right?
No, he's cameoed in at least one other Jon Favreau movie.
Okay.
I think a Marvel one, actually. I could be wrong about that, though. And then, of course, Jon Favreau himself is the Doctor. But as I mentioned earlier, he also voices the Narwhal. And also, he apparently voices the Rabid Raccoon. Which is... I figured they just pulled noises from, like, the internet or something from that. But no, it's Jon Favreau screeching like a rabid raccoon. Um,
Huh.
and then sorry, was someone gonna say something?
No, I was just that was
It's just a
interesting to me.
random like, okay, cool. Uh, also, you know the giant burp that Buddy does
Yeah.
after he drinks like the whole bottle of
Yeah,
soda?
that's what
I
that's
I thought
oh.
that was fake. So you don't like it? I mean, to me, it's just
Every
like,
time it
whatever, it's
does,
a burp.
every time it happens, I want to throw up. That's my throw up moment.
That begs the question: do either Jonathan or Seth, do you guys have moments in this movie where you're just like, I can't deal with this?
No,
No.
I didn't find any of them cringeworthy where I feel uncomfortable. I mean,
Does
there
it
are thi-
bother you knowing that that Will Ferrell did actually put maple syrup on spaghetti and actually had to eat it?
Not
He
really,
did.
because
He did actually eat maple syrup spaghetti.
Was there red sauce on it too?
yeah, if all it is pasta and maple syrup, I could see that would be actually pretty
pasta is
tasty.
a very neutral flavor.
I'll eat anything, so I would probably try it.
I feel
But
like to
if
me,
it's
it's a texture thing that I'm
but
thinking of that
even
would
if
make
it is
me like.
red sauce on it, because a lot of people put sugar and tomato sauce to
Oh yeah, I put
take
sugar
the
in my tomato
acidity out.
sauce.
So
Yep.
I'm not so sure that would necessarily be bad. It all depends on how much maple syrup, right?
Well, it's a lot. But anyway, so that giant burp that, to be honest, for the longest time, I thought, again, like the rabid raccoon was just like they pulled a bunch of sounds from the internet or whatever and like spliced things together, was actually a real burp, voiced by Maurice LaMarche, who is the voice of Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, among other things. Which I love Pinky and the Brain. So when I read that, I was like, ooh, I'm putting this in our talk.
Okay.
But
Did he? Oh no, I was thinking the wrong person. Yeah, Maurice LaMarche
he's done a ton
does
of voiceover work.
lot of voice work.
So I do love, and we're gonna go back. I want to go back and talk about some other plot points, but one last thing I wanted to note is I do love the at the end when I think it's the little brother, Buddy's little brother, half brother, whatever, is like, well, just show yourself on TV. Boy. He's like, the paparazzi have been trying to nail me for years, and I don't know why, but that line always makes me just chuckle. Like, yeah. It's a good line. Not my favorite line, but it's a good line. So major plot points, I guess. Romance between Buddy and
Jovi.
Jovi, thank you. I was gonna say Julie, and I knew that was not right.
Yeah.
Romance between Buddy and Jovi. Weird or not weird?
Well,
Weird.
I definitely see the attraction that Buddy would have.
Yeah.
For her, I think he's way too much of a project. So I don't quite get her interest.
Because what young woman does not want to date an ignorant man child? And yet, straight women, that's what you're left with. We're very sorry.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird to me. I will say this, like, at the very least, it's like it's almost like it's like a big sister little brother thing, and it's only like when he takes her on the date and then she like for real kisses him that I'm like, oh no, too much. Like this should have taken a lot longer. IRL.
Well,
Yeah.
they
If
only
it happened
have
at
like
all.
3 days before Christmas, so it can't go on for that long.
Well, yes.
There is a time limit here.
like in all Christmas movies, let's be real. But at the same time, as much as it weirds me out because he's so like has that like childlike mindset and everything, at the same time, it doesn't bother me as much as like the Hallmark Christmas movies where people fall in love in like 3 days. So
Oh my gosh.
Somehow it does not bother me.
Yeah, it's weird that they're almost entirely white and heteronormative.
What,
there's
the
always-
Hallmark movies?
There's always flannel.
Yeah. No,
Mhm.
it's not weird that the movies are made that way, but it's weird how the couples in the movies are always that way. Now, I will say that other stations, other streamers and whatnot have been making strides into making that less of a monolith. So that's good. But I mean, look, romance in movies is always like you meet, you fall in love immediately.
Yeah, only when Harry Met Sally got it right.
Yeah.
Where it took time.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily take like that much time.
Not that much time, but it's, all the other stuff is very quick, and that
Well,
one
I mean,
naturally.
holiday movies especially. I guess like I don't know why this weirds me out less than the like immediate relationships in like the Hallmark and even Netflix Christmas movies, etc. But
Are there Netflix Christmas movies?
oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
dude.
Oh,
Yes.
there's a whole
So
shared
many.
universe of Netflix Christmas movies.
Shared
So many.
universe.
Yeah, there's series, multiple series of Netflix Christmas movies.
A Christmas what is it? A Christmas Prince, and then a Christmas Prince
Switch.
Royal Wedding, and then a Christmas Prince Royal Baby.
And then there's the Christmas Switch ones, which has like 2 or 3 movies.
And I think, is it the one with Carrie Elwes and Brooke Shields also in that universe?
Is it in the same universe?
A Castle for Christmas?
Yes. We watched that. Wait, were you there when we watched that, Becca? No, Steve and I might have watched that the night before you guys came over for Christmas.
Yeah,
movies.
I wasn't there. We watched that
the
Christmas
Lindsay
Hatch.
Lohan one.
Yeah, you guys watched the hubcap boobs.
Yeah.
The hubcap what?
Hubcap boobs.
Boobs.
Boobs?
Yes, boobs. That's the word.
Oh wait, are we starting a
That's the name of a Christmas
musical
movie?
number?
The hubcap boobs?
Apparently her
No.
boobs look like hubcaps.
Oh, okay.
I did not say that. Somebody else did. We'll get into other Christmas movies in a bit, but yeah, the romance in this one a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But also sweet, I guess.
I don't know. Like it also.
It's weird because he's essentially a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
he's so.
He didn't.
He's so immature.
A romance element to it. I don't.
Yeah.
Think. It could have been just Buddy the Elf finds his best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
His dad is supposed to be his best friend.
I mean, this is. It just didn't work. That part of it, the movie didn't work for me.
Well, I mean, as Christmas movies go, like, you know.
Yeah.
So Buddy and his dad. His dad's a real fun piece of work.
A mafioso.
Right?
Hey. Sonny got shot, man.
It's been a while since he did those movies.
he was also Jonathan E. in Rollerball.
Really? He did
the original Rollerball, not the remake of Rollerball.
Oh god, okay. He did he did break character once in the movie, by the way. Like they chose him for, what's the actor's name again?
James Caan.
Thank you, James Caan. They chose him for the role because they wanted someone super serious who would be able to play against everything else that was happening. And the only time he actually broke character, and he said it was very hard not to, was in the scene at the doctor when Buddy gets his finger pricked for the blood draw. And he literally, like, you see it in the scene, he turns away from the camera because he's like,
I love it when he's stuffing cotton balls in his mouth.
No, I mean his father was a complete workaholic asshole.
Well, you can be a workaholic and also not be a total asshole.
No, I know, but he was
you
both a
know?
workaholic and an asshole.
Yeah,
He,
yeah.
he was obsessed with his career and making money. Ironically, his career in children's books, that was a little bit of a weird. Uh, he doesn't seem like the children book editor to me. That
No.
doesn't seem like a great match for his skill set.
Yeah, no. I Well, he was an editor, and probably, honestly, what I would guess is that it turned it into like there's a lot of money in children's books, and they're also very easy to edit, like way easier than
Well, yeah, there's
a full on like novel. Like
because
let's
there's
say like
far less writing.
like the short little children's book about the Princess and the Pea versus like a Brandon Sanderson, 1,500 page tome. Or George R. R. Martin,
Yeah, but Martin doesn't get editors, right? Doesn't he say he doesn't really use his
Oh, he
stuff?
has
Doesn't get.
he has an editor at least.
But I think I read somewhere that they said one of the his stuff's really easy to edit because it doesn't need a lot of editing.
Well, I mean, either way though, like the children's books are very
Yeah,
easy.
no, there's far less verbiage. So
And obviously this guy is kind of a hack because he's like, "Oh, there's pages missing from this entire print run. Just release it anyway." Like, okay, dude.
they won't notice.
Good job. Good job, dude who knows kids so well. Like, and here's the thing, like, yes, of course he didn't know Buddy, but he has another kid. I feel bad for his wife.
Yeah, but the other kid has said to Buddy that he's never there. He's a terrible father.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
it's like, why do you care about this guy? He's a terrible father.
It's a good thing that the mother is a freaking saint, which I know I kind of mentioned that earlier, but
why is she married to this guy?
Seriously. Why did she stay married? Like, girl. Like, because she's a career person too. She had I don't think we ever find out what she does, but she like has her own job and everything. Like, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? You could do so much better than this. Like, you are a literal saint. You ate Buddy's candy spaghetti. Like, you didn't have to do that. You could have been like, "Oh, I'm not hungry, but thank you so much." But you just ate it. And then the whole time she's like, "Oh, honey, like I like listen, yes, he's weird. This is weird, but like he's your son. Like we've got to make him feel at home, whatever." Like, honestly, this woman, literal saint. Like, whoever wrote her character loves their mother. That's all I'm going to say. Either that or they wrote her to replace a terrible mother, and this is like the saint mother they wanted to have. But I prefer to believe that they wrote her because they love their mother. I mean, literally, does anybody have a bad thing to say about her from the entire movie?
Maybe that she doesn't stand up for herself enough?
No, she does stand up for herself, if I'm remembering correctly. She kind of tells her husband, basically, get your shit straight.
Yeah, she does do that.
She's just really nice about it. Right? Like, she does stand up for herself, but she's so nice about it that you don't even notice she's doing it. Like, I wish I could be that person. So, any other general plot points to talk about before we dive into, or any other general plot points you guys want to talk about before we dive into our favorite scene and lines? No. All right.
I
Who
can't
wants
think
to
of
go?
anything. I'm sorry, brain is.
Oh, I know. Same. Favorite scene. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first, and it's the most politically incorrect, but it's the one with Peter Dinklage as the other elf. I cracked up so much, and it's totally inappropriate for me to crack up at that, but I do.
I mean, yes, it's technically politically incorrect, but I think because Buddy, it's like if you have like a child, like you bring your like 4-year-old to the supermarket and they don't know, right? And they see a person of small stature and they say something rude. Like that's how Buddy is in that moment. Like it's politically incorrect, but yeah, at the same time, it's also
But,
just like this is real life in a way.
and the first two times that was fine, and then when the guy clearly said he does not like me, no, Buddy ignored.
I don't think Buddy can understand when people are angry, honestly.
He's
He also definitely did not understand. He's like, call me elf one more time. And I think Buddy was like, I don't think he understood the turn of the turn of that phrase. Honestly.
No, he absolutely did not. He does not understand sarcasm at all. He does not understand anything like that. Like he was like, "Oh, okay, you want me to call you elf one more time? Okay, that's what I'll do." Like
he's an angry elf.
You're an angry elf.
That was the best line of the whole movie. He's a very angry elf.
So other favorite scenes?
I mean, that was actually the one I was going to go for, but
Well, that's you. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that scene?
I just like seeing an enraged Peter Dinklage fight Will Ferrell. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
We all wish we could fight Will Ferrell. It's okay.
I mean,
no,
I actually don't.
Has never once been one of on my wish list.
He's very tall. How about you, Becca? Favorite scene?
I think it's probably whenever he's making all that ridiculous food. I love that scene. And then, but I don't really have like a favorite scene. Like I love it all, but my favorite line, one of my favorite lines, is "I'm sorry I ruined your lives and crammed 11 cookies in the VCR." That's my favorite line in like the whole movie. And also whenever he presses all the buttons on the elevator. Because every time I get into an elevator with other people, I have to stop myself from pressing all the buttons on the elevator. Be thankful I've never done that with you, Seth.
What, just to annoy the other people in the elevator?
No, is it just to annoy the other people, or is it just because you want to see them all lit up?
Yeah, it makes me want to see them all lit up.
Becca, we would have been in an elevator forever.
I know.
Especially when it's pretty, like the Empire State Building. Or
yeah,
whatever,
and and the way he does it, he just like
yeah.
He just gets so excited. And then of course, the classic lines, what did the elf? What's your favorite color?
Well, those are lines, so we'll get into that in a second.
The lines, but I really do like it whenever he's cooking the food and he's like, he gives her whenever he's getting them ready to go to work, and he gives her the bag of spaghetti.
I mean, to be fair, like that's not the worst way to transport spaghetti, I guess. Like, if you're careful about it, pour it onto a plate and heat it up in a microwave at work. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's not difficult. You can shake it up and get it all mixed together, and yeah.
So my favorite is his confrontation with the fake Santa.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Yeah, like, but it's such as that. It's like, you smell like beef and cheese.
You smell like beef and cheese.
And I'm imagining this guy smelling like, those packages you can get at gas stations where it's like a Slim Jim and a stick of cheese.
Yeah.
Like, I imagine him smelling like when you open one of those. And like, also, yes, the you sit on a throne of lies thing. It's never gonna get over it.
My other favorite scene is whenever he's decorating Gimbals.
No.
I love watching that whenever he's decorating and he's and then like, yeah, I love seeing the after.
Yeah.
The after of it. It's really cool.
And the manager gets like so mad because he thinks like somebody snuck in. Like
they hired corporate, yeah.
Oh gosh, but actually, the funny thing, this is another thing I learned that makes me love the Santa confrontation even more is that um they had to do that scene in just one take because the Lego set that he destroys at the end, it took them 2 weeks to build.
Oh.
So they were like, do what you gotta do and you better nail it because you get one take. So that was kind of fun to learn that in my research. But yes, you sit on a throne of lies, you smell like beef and cheese. I don't know. There's just something about like mall Santas have always weirded me out, honestly. Like, this is your job. What are you doing? This is weird. But like, yeah, I love it so much. So Becca, since you've already said some favorite lines, why don't you go first with your favorite line? You can choose more than one, but not more than 3.
Not more than 3.
Becca, actually, you can have my 3 as well, so you could take 6.
Oh no! I think it's I'm sorry I ruined your lives and crammed 11 cookies in the VCR. I think that's my number 1 favorite line. And then of course the Buddy the Elf. What's your favorite color?
When he answers the phone.
Yeah, when he answers the phone, Buddy the Elf. What's your favorite color? And he does something. Whenever he's eating the cotton balls, he says something that gets me every time, and I don't remember what he says. Anyway.
I don't know. I don't remember either.
Yeah.
So Seth, what about you? Favorite line?
See, that's the problem. Is I don't know that I have any favorite lines.
Oh wait, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna look at the links you left us.
Yes.
And I'm gonna look and see at some of the quotes, because some of them might be.
All right. Okay. It's I think the oh my God, Santa here, I know him.
Oh yeah.
I think
Santa,
that,
I know.
I think that's pretty.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna go with the very basic. So good news. I saw a dog today. Have you seen a dog? You probably have. Because that is my life. Like, I am always happy when I see a dog. Like, we were in Vegas last weekend, and for whatever, and listen, like a lot of the hotels in Vegas are dog friendly, which is weird to me. But especially because like casino and dogs and elevators and whatever. But so many dogs, and then somebody brought a dog to the bar we were in on Saturday night, like this big dog who like very clearly didn't want to be there, and I, in my birthday dress, sat on the floor and just petted this dog for like 20 minutes because this poor dog like clearly didn't want to be there, and like the owner was just not gonna get into that. But this poor dog did not want to be there. She had her tail tucked between her legs, and her name was Ellie Mae, and my dog's name is Ellie Jane. So I felt like I had an affinity. And yeah, good news. So good news. I saw a dog today. Have you seen a dog? You probably have. Favorite line.
I can relate to that. Allison and I usually point out dogs to each other all the time when we're driving or just walking.
What about you, Jonathan? Favorite line?
Oh, going back to the other one. He's a very angry elf.
Yeah, he must be a South Pole elf. They have winter at the wrong time of year.
I love the Gimbals manager whenever they're arguing back and forth too. And he says, "This is the North Pole," and Vice says, "No, it's not." And Gimbals manager says, "Yes, it is." And Vice says, "No, it's not." "Yes, it is." "No, it's not. Where's the snow?"
I also like the one, and I'm paraphrasing, where Santa was telling him about if you see a peep show, it's
yeah,
oh yeah,
it's not what you think.
It's not what you think. Yeah.
Oh, I'm here with my dad. We've never met. And he wants me to sing him a song. And I was adopted. You don't know I was born.
Actually, that brings up a question, a real quick question before we get into the last bit here. The conversation that his assistant, that the dad's assistant is having on the phone when Buddy walks in, she's talking about like declawing a bunch of cats. Like, why is somebody asking her to declaw a bunch of cats? Like, what is that about?
It's New York. We don't ask questions.
You do what you're told. You do what Spinelli tells you to do. You declaw the cats, even though
Yeah.
that's a horrible thing to do to cats.
Yeah, it is a horrible thing to do to cats, and most veterinarians won't do it anymore and haven't been doing it for like 20 years or so. But it was just a weird, like, what? Why is she okay? And for the rest of the movie, she's like completely normal, like
They probably were like, think of the most insane thing you can possibly think of, and then talk about it. And she was like, declawing cats.
yeah, because she's a comedian too.
Yeah.
So
Well, and it's Amy. What's her name?
Schumer?
No.
no.
It's Amy Schumer. No, it's not Amy Schumer. Amy
hate
Sedaris. There we go.
Yes, yeah.
Who had a show on Comedy Central in the 90s that, if you've ever seen it, was real weird.
I have not.
Yes.
So,
well,
but whatever. It's a funny bit, but it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? It's a weird aside. So, okay. Any last thoughts on Elf before we move on to our final question of the night? I mean, I just love this movie. I think it's happy and fun and funny, and
it always makes me feel good when I watch it.
I don't care who knows it. It does. It's like it's good fuzzy warm feelings, right? Nobody here would watch it with me last year, so I was like, fine, I'll just watch it by myself. Jerks.
Dang.
Harsh.
I even watch bad Hallmark and Netflix and Roku and Peacock.
Older stepkid is never home. Younger stepkid refuses to watch movies that have awkward humor, and Dean refuses to watch Christmas movies like entirely. So if it's not Die Hard, so
He didn't like Hawkeye, huh?
well, that's a Christmas show. But yes, we did like Hawkeye. So yes, warm fuzzy feelings. Very.
How about
positive.
Bad Santa? Did he like Bad Santa?
I don't know, actually. The Bad Moms Christmas movie is also hilarious. And actually, that leads us directly into our last question of the night, which is suggest another Christmas or holiday movie you think everyone should watch. Wait, hold on. Bonus points if it's a movie that came out recently. Extra bonus points if it came out this year. So when I say recently, let's say within the last like 3 years. But extra bonus points if it came out this year. So, and it can, we've lost Seth. It can be bad. It doesn't have to be a good holiday movie or Christmas movie. So suggest a movie. Suggest a Christmas movie.
Does it have to be a movie? Or can it be a does it have to be a movie or can it be a TV special?
I suppose it can be a special, a TV special.
I mean, it's a few years old, but I love the Ice Age Christmas special.
Yeah, you've been bugging us about that for a while now. Eventually, maybe
that made me so happy when I saw that the first time.
Next year, that'll be our holiday special. I promise you that. So make a note of this because I will forget.
But yeah, more recent ones I really haven't seen any. I mean, other than the Guardians of the Galaxy, which I thought was terrific, which I also would recommend.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any real modern Christmas specials. I usually will rewatch Rudolph if I catch it, and I like to watch Charlie Brown when I catch it, or I watch it. I think it's on Apple these days for Charlie Brown, but
yeah,
those are oldies.
In a long time.
Frosty the Snowman was, I was partial to that also. So.
What about you, Becca? Suggestions?
I honestly haven't seen any Christmas movies other than what we watched.
I don't really
I
remember the ones we watched, honestly, so I
I
can't
don't
help.
I haven't seen any. We at our house we have like movies that we always watch every single year. And unfortunately this year we haven't gotten a chance to watch them, but we always watch Christmas with the Cranks, with Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis,
Mm.
and we always watch Jingle All the Way. Um, but because it's so quotable and it always makes my dad laugh. And my dad is a really serious person and he doesn't laugh very often, but when he does laugh, it's really like it makes you feel warm and fuzzy. And so all you have to do is look at him and say, "Ta ta, turtle man," and he just bursts into giggles. Um, and so we always watch those. And I've been wanting to watch Krampus, but I haven't watched Krampus. Actually, I have it on DVD here, but I haven't watched it.
Isn't that a horror film?
Hmm, I've heard it's like a black comedy. There's another movie called Black Christmas that's supposed to be like a black comedy Christmas movie. Office Christmas Party is pretty funny.
I don't know if
But
I've seen that one.
it's okay. um, but yeah, like I don't really have any. I always watch Nightmare Before Christmas on Christmas
Mm.
Eve. And I always watch it on Halloween as well. So, um, I see you laughing at me. Don't laugh at me. I'll fight you. But yeah, so there's nothing new this year. I started watching the new Grinch movie last night, but my dad was complaining the whole time, so he turned it
Is there a
off.
new Grinch movie, or is that the one that was a few years ago?
The one with Benedict Cumberbatch, the
Oh,
Illumination did it, the studio that did Despicable Me.
okay, didn't even know about
It's
that
like a
Mm.
one.
cartoon Grinch movie. Um, it was
Hmm.
seemed really cute from what I was watching, but my dad was like, "I can see how this flopped," and I was like, "Okay." Um, what about y'all?
So for me, I'm gonna go like with the most recent one. Definitely watch Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special if you haven't yet. But honestly, I will say like definitely only watch it if you've seen both Guardians of the Galaxy movies because there's some things that won't totally make sense if you haven't seen the second Guardians movie. But even then, it's still a lot of fun. The other the other thing I will suggest till the end of time, even though both of these movies are absolutely fucking terrible, is watch A Christmas Wedding Planner on Netflix, followed
Oh my
by
god. Is that
Christmas with a
fake?
View.
Ugh,
Cheryl. Cheryl.
Cheryl. Cheryl.
Like, listen, there's a returning character. So this is like it is the first time the first time I saw these movies, I think it was like 2018 actually. I was doing sorry guys. Hold on a second. I'm gonna mute myself. Sorry. The first time I saw these movies, I believe it was 2018, and we my friend and I watched Christmas Wedding Planner first. Like we search out bad Christmas movies, right? So we watched Christmas Wedding Planner first, and it's about this girl who is planning her like best friend's or maybe friend from high school's wedding, so maybe not best friends, whatever. And she brings in this baker to teach her friend how to make gingerbread loaf, by the way, because gingerbread isn't a cookie, it's a comestible loaf. And his name is Charles. And the whole movie is stupid as crap, but it's just a funny in that it's bad, so it's funny Christmas movie sort of way. And then literally that same night we put on, and I think it was suggested to us because the same guy was in it, but also maybe because they were both made in Canada, whatever. Netflix suggested Christmas with a View. And Christmas with a View begins with a cook-off show, sort of like Iron Chef or it's not no, it's like it's less like Iron Chef and more like a British Bake Off sort of thing, but with like cooking, not just baking. And one of the contestants is Charles, and we'd been drinking. Like we play a drinking game when we watch these bad Christmas movies. So we'd been drinking a lot because the drinking game includes things like anytime there's like a Christmassy thing in the shot, you have to take a drink. So it's like constantly, et cetera, et cetera. But So we'd been drinking, and Charles came on the screen at the beginning of the second movie, and we both were just like, we had to pause the movie because we were freaking the fuck out. Like, oh my God, it's Charles. How is he in that movie and also in this movie? So whenever we have friends around who haven't seen these two movies, we force them to watch them, and they're both terrible. But I highly suggest if you like a bad Christmas movie that you watch those two back to back so that you can also have the Charles moments.
It was a huge suffering.
Well, on that note, as we close out the episode, we just want to give a shout out to our Heroes Tier patron, Tommy of the TKOK Podcast Network. Thank you so much for supporting us. Once again, I'm Tara, along with currently Becca and Jonathan. Seth had his internet drop out because he's somewhere in the midst of that big storm that's happening along the entire Midwest and East Coast. So thank you, Seth, also for joining us. Sorry you had to drop out a little bit early. For everyone else who's listening, don't forget, you can always hit us up at Sagas and Sass on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or YouTube actually now. Or email us at sagasandsass@gmail.com with any comments or thoughts you might have. Thank you for joining us for this episode. We will be back Wednesday, January 4th to continue our Red Rising saga coverage with part 1 of Morningstar, which is the 3rd book in that series. So have a great night. Have a great rest of the month, holiday season, whatever you celebrate. Bye.
Bye.